to the Industry Show. My name is James Winborn, and today I'm here with two talented actors. I have Nakia Dillard and Keyon Smith with me. Thank y'all for being guests on my show here.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I like to do on here, I like to kind of take it back to the beginning of your career. I like to know what motivated y'all to wanting to become actors. I can start with you, Nakia. Where did it all start with?
Well, honestly, it started when I was like 14. I was a big fan of The Cosby Show.
Okay.
And I just saw myself on that show.
Maybe Theo or Cliff.
One of his friends.
So, Cockroach, what was his name?
There you go.
Okay.
So I went to an acting class and just changed my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just changed my life.
Okay. Cool. What about you, Keyon?
For me, man, just growing up in North Philly, man, we used to always joke, you got to have thick skin growing up in the city, man, because they'll bust on you, the kids, it's ruthless.
Right,
so,
right.
I was a comedian, man. We always crack jokes. We was reciting movies. We was watching shows, man. It was lovely, and I was always in plays and stuff like that in school.
Right.
And I just went across the street to Freedom Theater, man, and that was all she wrote.
Okay, you started at Freedom. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
You say for you, right? Wow. So when you said you was inspired by the Cosby Show, where you're in your teenage age there? Teenagers?
Yeah, I was like 14.
Like 14? And what was the first thing you done? Do you remember, what was your first?
My very first, at Freedom they had a show called The Moment of Sharing. So that was my very first performance. But then my first play was called Aesop Bop.
Eastside Bob.
And that was at Freedom. It was like Aesop's Fables.
Uh-huh.
So, and that was a show written by Gail Leslie at Freedom Theater.
And what did you play in that?
I played a dude named Fresh.
Okay. I'm taking you back there. You see, I'm taking you back.
Fresh from the movie.
Right.
I was rapping, dancing. I was doing everything.
Oh, for the first time? You was doing all that?
Well,
like a musical?
It was a musical, yeah. So we did a lot of musicals at Freedom.
Wow. I know that was challenging for the first.
Well, no, it was fun.
It was fun?
Because I was rapping. I was always.
So you was in the hip hop?
Yeah.
I seen some videos of you. I ain't put that on you, but I seen some stuff. But, okay, that's dope. That's dope, though.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
What was your, day one,
Oh, man. Well, besides, in school where I did, I had to do, it's funny that, MLK just passed. So I did an MLK speech,
Okay.
In school.
Right.
I was on, a drum team where we drummed in front of the whole school in the auditorium and stuff like that. But while going to Freedom Theater, I was, doing student films.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So I was in this film called Talon, and it was actually nominated for one of the best undergraduate films. So
good. Awesome.
that was pretty cool. So that's where I started. So once I started getting into student films, you started to get to know people, and that doing the same thing. And they put you on to this and that, and I started going to film.org and
Right.
looking out for auditions and things like that. So
Okay.
I just kept going from there, man.
So in your early career, was there a lot of nervousness by performing for the audiences, and especially doing theater? Was it?
It still is.
It still is, right? Yeah, you never get rid of the nerves, huh?
It never goes away, man.
Yeah.
You just know how to refocus it.
Right. Okay.
But it's still there.
It's still there.
I think it's a healthiness to have that because it kind of gives you adrenaline and different things like that, keep you on your toes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Cool. So I know y'all have done a lot so far, up to date. So what has been some of your favorite roles that y'all have had to portray out here in the industry? Characters that y'all played. What's been some of y'all favorites?
I had a lot, man.
And I know y'all work together too. So if it's something like that,
That's my arch nemesis.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But
I know we fighting it every.
Yeah, right.
he choked me out, man. But it's hard to pick a favorite. But I can say the best ones for your career is those that take you out of your element.
Right.
Those that are not close to you as a person. So if it has no characteristics of you, it's more challenging, and that's the ones I like myself.
Absolutely.
We were in a film called Color.
Oh yeah.
Remember Color with James? And I played this character, man, and he just spit a bunch of gibberish. Like he was this opulent, rich dude. It's it was like Alice in Wonderland meets I don't know. Like it
Yeah,
was it was kind of it was kind of funky. It was
Out
pretty,
there,
it was
right.
pretty cool. Like each room represented a different emotion.
Right, right.
You remember
Okay.
that?
And I was a monk. I was
Yeah,
a
and he was
Buddhist
a monk,
on
a
there.
Oh,
Buddhist
okay.
monk. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was this bird man. I had a bird on my arm, and it was
It was
a
out
character.
there, right? Yeah.
It was out there.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
suited
that
with
was
the
fun.
with the pocket watch, and
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but it was fun, man. It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, you know, I've had a truly blessed life. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause I had a chance to work on The Wire, and recently I was on like the new reboot of The Wonder Years,
Right.
Black Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Worked on BMF, and then recently, just as of last week, I booked 2 Dick Wolf franchise shows.
Wow.
Nice.
So
Congrats,
I was
man.
thank you.
Yeah, Dick Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was on Law and Order
That's a long one. Yeah.
and FBI Most Wanted
Okay.
within a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like,
Working.
man, you know what I'm saying? So it's just
That's awesome.
it's an honor, but I would say my best job is my next one.
The next one.
Exactly.
You don't have, so you don't have an all-time favorite, like a character
Honestly,
that you played?
I would tell you, man, all of them has been something to my spirit. Like, you know, like even the films me and Keyon were just talking about. So
Right.
we did a film called Swing. You know, shout out to my boy Teef and
Yep.
Mike.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
yeah.
that was crazy.
And we
I think I got beat up in that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I
I
think you
was
did.
beating
Yeah, you
him
gotta
up.
get you a little toughness to you, man.
yeah, I was beating him up with everything. But
got-
the
I
one
got him
he
back.
did get
Yeah,
me,
you
though.
did. You got him back.
got
Yeah,
him compromised.
Yeah,
You got me
okay.
in compromise. Yep. So definitely, y'all check out Compromise.
Compromise. Shout out to Floyd.
Yeah.
Floyd Marshall Jr.
Yes, sir.
So again, we've worked together for years, and it's always been a blessing to work with Keyon.
Right.
He's such
Likewise.
a talented actor, man.
Right.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
it, man. He'll bring the best out of you, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
So
good.
it's always a pleasure. And,
So I want to take you back to something you said, Keyon. You talk about roles that make you stretch into like it's something you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
So you like roles that are more challenging, then, not just you playing maybe a father figure or something. You're doing something that's normal, not normal in your life.
Right,
And,
right.
And explain that, like why that makes you.
Because you know, sometimes you get a script, and you have to build that backstory. You know, as to well, sometimes the script won't give you that. Like,
Right.
who's this mom?
Who's this
Who's
character?
dad?
Right, right. You
Why
gotta
is he
dig
so
into it.
angry? You know,
Absolutely.
you got to build that own, your own backstory, so it makes you work a little bit more. You know, so and I'm not against putting in the work.
Right,
so,
right.
And I love that challenge. So I was I think I was a homeless dude, and no, I was actually undercover, played a homeless dude, and what was that film with I think
We both was in?
Lionel Cook worked on it too with Hakeem
Oh
Wood.
wait, was it
What was that film?
it called Triple
with
Cross?
Sky Dennis.
was it Murder?
Murder City Angels.
Maybe that's
Something like
Was it
that.
Virus Angels?
Let me give a shout out to Sky Dennis.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. And my guy Lionel Cook, he's
Lionel
in
Cook.
LA too, doing his thing, man. Phenomenal editing work too, by the way. But yeah, so it's always good, man. When we read a script and you're like, all right, I could do this.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And it's always fun where the director is not, like micromanaging. They allow you to play with that character.
Give
and-
you freedom.
and
Yeah.
Some of them is,
Yeah.
they're sticklers. They're like, just stick to that. Just stick to that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's always good when you have that flexibility to play with the character.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. So for me, I've done a little bit of acting myself, but I really don't like it. Right.
Oh,
But I'm gonna tell you why. My problem has always been remembering lines. That's what I struggle with. So I want to know, what is y'all process? And y'all can help someone out here that wants to be an aspiring actor one day. What is that process like? Remembering lines, dialogue.
See,
How do y'all do it?
for me, that's where I would go back to what I said previously, where I started early, like with memorizing Eddie Murphy lines and clips from movies and Red Fox and
Right,
stuff
right.
like that. Martin Lawrence, and just cracking jokes and just remembering movie lines. So the lines was easy for me.
Oh, okay.
Memorization.
Natural gift.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna tell you, because
adding that.
your memory, your mind, everything is a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on how you work that muscle. So when people, a lot of times people look at the mountain versus the rocks. So if you can just do
Nice.
one
I like
line,
that. I like that.
and then go to the next line. Like once you get that one line down or that one word or whatever it is,
just add to it.
You just keep adding, so it's repetition.
And I was going to say it's repetition. Yeah.
Yeah, repetition. Just like you can't just pump one iron and you be like, all right, I'm swole now.
Right. You gotta keep doing it, right?
You
gotta keep going at it,
same
right?
thing. Like if you
gotta go
got
back
a
for days.
script, yeah, you may get a script today, but you give it like a couple hours. You know, a couple hours a day
To tackle it, and then
and you'll have it.
follow it, yeah.
You'll have it. But
I agree.
again, like, you know, and that's what like training and craft and like, you know, like we went to acting school too. Yeah. And that helped us.
School. I
Because
I had no
you're
type
forced-
of acting training at all. When I've done little things, it was just little stuff like you just fill in and do this. But for me, I was really like study, and then 10 minutes later, I'm like, what? Did I say that? Like,
Right. That's 'cause
I
you're not
totally
used to
forgot.
it.
Yeah, and
You're not
it's
used to that doing that. Like
it's
putting in that
nerve wracking
situation.
for me.
And to piggyback off of what he said in regards to like repetition, I carry my script with me every day till I'm done.
You know, I have my script
All day.
Right.
I have it in my pocket.
exactly.
You probably got one on your nail, right?
Let me check.
Bam.
It's in my coat pocket.
Right.
but yeah, it's repetition, man. Like you can't. If you got, you know, most of us still have, like some people still have work. They got full-time
Right.
jobs or part-time jobs.
I was going there next. Like, how do
Taking
you?
that script with you to work?
Right.
You on your lunch break? I remember driving, looking at the script at a red light, stop. Like,
Study in the car while you drive.
It's repetition. I'm talking to myself.
Not the safest thing to do.
I'm talking to myself. People looking at you in the car, like, what's wrong?
So like time management is a big thing about that. Like I said, like some people be like, all right, let me like once I get home, let me eat, or while I'm eating, let me do this.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to put that time in because you know you don't want to get on set, and by you being a director, you know what it's like.
Yeah, on the other end,
you're not ready or prepared.
Where you on take 12? Take
we
15.
talked, we know, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a big stickler of class because people, this is the most disrespected craft there is.
Yeah.
And when I say that, when you say, oh, I want to get into sports, you're like, oh, let me get a coach. You know,
Right.
when you say, oh, I want to sing, dance,
Let me
or
get a
whatever,
vocal coach.
you like, let me get in the dance class.
Choreographer.
You say I can act. Oh, I can just act. I can just wake up.
Give me a call.
Yeah, people think it's a natural.
It's
Yo, I
not
get
like
that all the time.
Yeah.
People be like, yo,
Exactly.
my inbox is flooded.
Right.
With people telling me that.
Same
Hook
thing.
me up. Hook me up.
Same thing happened to me. You
Yup.
know, especially when you're in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
And you see people
absolutely.
you know and you grew up with.
Yup.
Yo, put me in the movie. All right, when you got to be to Lincoln University at 5:00 in the morning.
Right.
Let's see if you can make it.
Exactly,
You know,
right.
That's where the
It has to be
professionalism
first.
starts.
Yeah.
With punctuality.
On time, yeah.
On time.
And the kid, we just talked about this, right? The other night.
Talked about that the other
On
night.
time punctuality.
And a lot of people don't know. It's like, what is acting?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and acting is behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances. You know what I mean?
Love it, love it.
So people just, like he said, you can't just jump in this and think you have all the nooks and crannies.
Oh,
and
no.
the craft down
It's a
to
process.
a T. You know,
It's a process.
Exactly. You looking at the camera, you fumbling your words. Like,
Yeah.
you whitewashing us
Yeah.
out. You got on white tees. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's more intricacies to it too.
Now, do y'all ever look at something? I'm glad you said that too. Do you ever look at some of your earlier work and then look at your present work and see the growth?
Oh yeah.
And y'all,
Yeah,
y'all
yeah.
see that?
You
Yeah.
look at, man, we always.
And that's a positive
I don't know
thing.
about him, but I
Yeah.
always critique myself. when
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking
a
at-
positive
when I'm
thing.
looking at it, I'm like, I could have did much better. I
Yeah.
should have said. I should have did.
You hear
You're gonna
some people
always
say
do
they
that.
don't never want to watch their old work. Like,
This is the thing too.
but that's a good thing.
Sometimes, like, I mean, as actors, we really don't have the power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because again, we don't know what take y'all are going to choose.
I'll tell you right,
true.
right.
So we could have been like, oh man, we just tore that scene up.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't use that take. They
That's
use
true.
a different one.
That's true.
So
a different angle or something.
yeah, right,
That's
exactly.
true.
So sometimes as actors, you don't really know what the director sees. All you can do is just be truthful, give what you give, and leave it on the floor. That's all you can do.
Right.
That's all your job is, because you can't go outside of the lines.
Right.
You can't improv and do all unless they ask you to.
Mhm.
But if they say this is your script, when they give you your script, they have a person on the side as a script supervisor.
Right.
So they're there to just look at, make sure you're saying exactly on this page.
Right.
Right.
And if you go off the page and start talking about
Something else, right.
Cut. Let's do
Cut.
it again.
Let's do it again. That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So again, you don't, as an actor, you don't really have as much power as you think actors have.
Right.
So a lot of times, like when I a lot of times people be like, oh, that person can't act. That person, well, again,
What about the director?
You don't know,
Get direct.
but that person still got the job.
Mm-hmm.
So he can act to somebody.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So the thing is, like when they have you on, you just have to stay in the pocket. You got to do your job, and that's all you can get because your whole character could be cut out.
Right.
It's true. Yeah, you have to know your personnel.
Mhm.
Right.
If you have a rapport with that director, you would know how he works. If you go outside the lines a little bit, like he mentioned, and he directs you back inside the lines,
Right, yeah.
you know you don't have that wiggle room.
Right.
so-
Stay in the lines next time.
Exactly.
Right.
Stop coloring outside the lines.
Right.
Messing up my portrait.
Kindergarten, back to
Back to
kindergarten, right?
That's why I say like class is so important.
Right.
Yeah.
Like who knows? You might be the next Denzel.
I doubt it, but I hear you, but I doubt it.
Still going to class, man. You gotta go to class.
Okay. Thanks for the encouragement.
Hey, you got it, man.
All right, so what type of roles do y'all think y'all best suited for?
Honestly, I know what I do well, but again, I haven't explored all of the characters yet. That's meant for me yet.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to play an alien in a movie.
What? Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
I see how I feel.
How
on
do you
that.
train for that?
Right.
Imagination, man. That's our biggest tool is acting. Imagination.
Imagination.
The
yeah.
alien.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can't say either, man. I know a lot of my roles. I've had a gun. I know that. But,
That's right.
I can't say what's it's
Because we don't know. I mean,
you don't know what you're best at because you haven't been put in that role.
Okay.
I mean,
I've done some great work. You've done some great work.
Right. I've done some theater where it was South Bank. What is it?
South Bank on Arts.
South
Arts
Bank. Yeah. And what was that play? Shout out to my guy Bilal Islam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I done plays with him. How could you do this to me? That's what it was, and it sold out. We bought it back by popular demand. So
Awesome.
I played a doctor who screwed up and was messing with somebody else on his wife and tried to get my wife back. So that was emotional roller coaster up and down. You know, where you apologize, you're crying, you're trying to get her back, you're angry. So. That was some highs and lows. That was pretty cool. I played the bad guy, played the good guy, so.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Y'all done it all. I understand.
All types of.
Yeah. Like I said, I played that character,
Birdman.
Birdman.
Buddhist monk.
I gotta find that clip. I need that clip.
I need the clip too. It's out there somewhere.
I gotta see that one.
My son actually played my son in that show. I think in that movie. Yeah.
Oh really?
Oh,
Yeah. He played Little Birdman.
Oh wow.
Now he played college basketball. He's 24. He's like 6'3".
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Look at that, man.
So do y'all have acting role models? People y'all look up to in the industry? Who's some of y'all favorites?
And, I have acting role models here in the city.
Yep.
Like
The time to name drop. Let's go.
My guy Chris Mann. That's one of my guys I look to. Brian Anthony Wilson.
Yep. Brian Anthony Wilson.
Yep.
Johnny Hobbs.
Chia Wedgie Ejiofor. I like his work. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I like Denzel. Like I had a chance to work with.
Yeah, everybody loves Denzel.
I worked with Idris Elba. I think Idris is a great actor. He was
Concrete Cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
yeah.
I was on as a
Good.
dialect coach on that, and but just being around him and watching him work was awesome.
You can actually pick up something from almost anyone that you work with. So it's like a mosh pot, like a you know what I mean of characters and mannerisms and things that you can learn from each person, and you kind of form into your own.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, kind of makes you a better person and actor as well.
So when you're working around some of these so-called A-list actors, is it nervousness to you, or do you feel as though you have to take your game to a different level to match their energy, and so to speak?
You want to, yeah,
you want to,
be
yeah.
on point.
Yeah, you wanna, so like I would say to that, you just got to do your job. That's it. You just got to come in the door prepared, ready to go. I mean, and everything will work itself out.
Right.
You don't want to overdo.
That's true.
Right.
You just want to go in there, do what you did in your audition. It's a reason why they hired you.
Right. They like something you did, right.
Yeah, so you don't want to be like, get that, like, oh, man, I want them to talk about me.
Right.
Remember, we're all playing part. We're all
Right.
in this world together, so we all got to give and take.
Yeah.
So I would just say, just stay in your pocket and just do what you do best.
Stay in your lane. Don't swerve.
That's right. Just like you said, color it, right? Keeping it, stay in the lines.
Because he makes a great point. Because if you do your job, it makes their job easy too.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. And it forms this cohesiveness that they're looking for in the project in its totality.
Right.
And that's why they hired you.
All right. Exactly.
I saw that.
Yep.
So I saw this interesting question. I wanted to give it to y'all. What do you think makes a performance most believable?
Well,
reality.
Yeah,
That's one of the first things that jumped in my head too. Is the realism.
All right, I'm not going to say any. I'm not going to pick any shows and not like that. But I'm going to say reality. And some things you see, hear, do, experience, and if you're looking at something and you feel like it's not realistic, then it wasn't your reality that you experienced.
Right.
Maybe that was someone else's reality. But
and also if you're truthful to your imagination, far as like, okay, you got the role down, because everything is imaginary. Everything, even with us, like Keyon and I played people that our characters hated each other.
Yeah.
We don't hate each other.
Right.
We had to make it believable.
Right.
It looked like we hated each other.
Right.
But we had to believe that ourselves. So if you don't believe it, how are we going to believe it?
Man, so it's funny that he mentioned that because during the compromise when we hated each other, we was most of the time we was in separate rooms. He was like in the bedroom, I was like over here.
Right.
I see him pacing, walking around. I'm reading the script. So I was like,
Right.
get away from me, man. I don't like you right now. So
Zone out.
yeah,
That's how you get locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, like I mentioned, earlier, it's behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances.
Right.
We're going to continue to hear that imaginary circumstances. So, like he said, in that make believe world, you still have to be truthful in it.
So whatever I don't like about him, that's what I have to go on. Same vice versa.
Right.
What did I do to him to make him feel this way about me?
Right.
None of it is real.
Right.
But it's real in this script.
Right.
Right.
So that's
That's what you draw from.
exactly. Yeah.
That's the energy you're pulling from on set.
Yeah.
And like you said, sometimes you don't have the whole backstory about these characters, so you just kind of make up things.
Yeah.
Well,
How
we
you
have
would
to
think.
create it. Yeah.
Right.
Create it.
And that's part of like doing your character biography, knowing who you are.
Right.
So you have to know who you are before we do.
Right.
Before the audience sees it.
Yeah.
We have to be living, breathing this character.
Right. Like I was saying earlier, people think that this acting thing is simple, and it's not. No. There's so much studying and things you have to do just to pull these characters out of y'all. It's not that y'all talented. We know that, but the process.
I think what people see is that, or what they feel is that when they say, "Hey, I can call me for a movie," I
could do that. Yeah.
I think what they're saying is they can be themselves in the movie, or play this role in the movie,
right?
But
when you have to be someone else,
someone else is different.
It's different, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely agree.
If people want to be involved. It's fun to be on TV, you know, but it's the homework.
I want you to play this transsexual and put a dress on and
right,
this lipstick and this wig, and let's see if you can do it, and walk in high heels.
Right.
Tu Wong Fu.
Right.
Right.
That was with Wesley, right?
Wesley
just said, yeah. So it's not easy.
Right.
So here's another interesting question. So, do you believe talent or training is more important to an actor? Talent or training?
Training, because you can become talented through the training. Talent is assumed until you open your mouth.
Nice. I would say talent will get you in the door. The training will keep you
in there, in the room.
Keep you in the room.
Once you go to the door.
Exactly.
Interesting.
That's what I'll say.
Interesting.
Because people don't understand that it could be 12, 16-hour days on set.
Overnight. I was on set overnight. Yeah.
Really?
We filmed a movie called what was that movie with Candyman? I can't remember the name right now. It escapes me. But we was at Holmesburg Prison, I think it was. Man, I was there from 3 in the afternoon till the next day, like 7,
I've
8
done
o'clock,
some long
7,
sets,
8
like
o'clock in the morning.
long sets, yeah.
Matter of fact, Black Lightning.
Black Lightning, yeah.
I was on. I think my call time was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't wrap till the sun was coming up.
Yeah.
And I had like 3 and 4 different scenes. So I would do my one scene, and I would go back to my trailer. Then I would
bunch of downtime.
Prep for the next scene, and then I would go and then do the next scene.
Right.
And each time I had to be ready.
Yeah, yeah. It was Tony Todd. I played Candyman, and there was a movie called Shadow, Dead Riot. And I went to work the next day. I still had makeup on because it was a riot.
Right.
Everybody was beat up, and we was bleeding and throwing officers and all kind of chairs and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was another one in Pittsburgh with Russell Crowe. The next 3 days.
Okay.
Where I played like a CSI agent or something like that.
And it was a long set day and all that?
Set day, yeah.
Yeah.
BMF for me was a long day, but it was great. Like I said, I mean, I'm not complaining, but
yeah.
all the days were great. But again,
absolutely,
the training, the like having the right mindset,
right.
all of that stuff matters. Like when you're working as an actor.
I agree.
Yeah,
if you're there for 15 hours and then you're up, you're the next man up. It can show in your work that you're dragging or you're tired or So
you can see it on set. I mean, or in the outcome of it. Like, look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. Right.
The energy, right? So
yeah. And I'm glad y'all here to explain that today. Cause like I said, a lot of people don't know the process. They, like you said, I could do it. Call me up. As soon as you hear about it, people start hearing I was in film school, they was like, put me in a movie. Like, no, like you're not ready. Like you have no training.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's easy to play yourself.
Exactly.
But when you want to play someone else, that's the problem, right?
Yep.
So I was glad y'all are here today to discover to induce the process to them. Let introduce the process. It's not that easy.
Absolutely.
So it's work. It's work.
Yeah, just like anything else, man. It's work, it's training, and you constantly learning, and you feeding the beast. You got to continue doing it, repetition.
So we talked about locking into characters and stuff. I just want to touch on that real quick as we can just bring this to an end. The importance of doing that homework and filling out what these characters are really supposed to be on set or in the script. Can we talk about that real quick again? How important that is to a role or script or something.
It's very important. I mean, that's where your story comes to life. If the actors aren't locked in and prepared, then it'll show. And then you've seen movies where you be like, wow.
Right.
I agree.
Turn this off.
Yeah. So again, you want your actors to be ready and trained and
right.
Or at least also, as a director too, just in case, because the actors aren't in your head, so they don't know what you see. Because they're basically painting the picture for you,
right?
For the director.
Right.
So also the director has to be able to explain what they actually see and what they want.
Their vision.
I was going to say that.
The vision.
I agree. I can piggyback on that. So you can't be afraid if you receive a script. You can't be afraid to ask the directors questions either.
Right.
So it's like, hey, do you see this character as, get a little feedback from the director or the writer. Sometimes the writer and the director, that's not the same person.
Right, right. That's right. Absolutely, yeah.
I'm going to tell you, sometimes, I mean, especially on like some of these big projects, you may never even have the opportunity to even ask that question.
Right.
So sometimes, I mean, they want you to do the work before you get on stage. Now, depending on the director, you may be able to have a conversation with them. Yeah. But like, I'm gonna tell you, like,
that's true. That's true too.
What job I did? I think it was Black Lightning, and the writer was on set. Now that's real rare. Sometimes they aren't there. They're not there. So
a little cheat code then, huh?
So I
sneak a question then. Yeah.
Right.
You gotta take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. So you just. That's why you got to really pay attention to like what they may give you a direction, and you just got to take real attention to that.
That's true.
And but on Black Lightning, like I said, I did the scene, and the writer came up to me and was like, you did it exactly how I wrote it. I didn't have the direction.
You love to hear that.
Oh, but the fact that the writer came up to me and said that meant that I was on the right path. Dan.
All right, well, I'll bring y'all. I'd like to thank y'all so much for being my guest today. We ran out. 30 minutes go by quick.
Absolutely, man.
I thank
It
the
was a
both
pleasure,
of y'all.
man.